I was pulled over by a cop, but he didn't want my license, and the moment turned tense fast. His flashlight beam sliced through the darkness of my truck cab like an accusation, pinning me against the worn leather seat, my heart slamming against my ribs as if it knew something I didn't. "Step out of the vehicle, sir," he said, voice low and gravelly, not the bored drawl I'd expected from a midnight stop on this godforsaken stretch of I-70 in Kansas, but something sharper, hungrier, like he'd been waiting for me all night. The rain had just started, fat drops smacking the windshield like impatient fingers, blurring the world outside into a smear of taillights and endless blacktop. I'd been driving too long, 18 hours straight from Chicago, fleeing the wreckage of another failed hookup that left me tasting regret and cheap whiskey. My name's Liam Harper, 27, a freelance graphic designer who thought escaping the city's grind would fix the ache in my chest, the one that whispered I was too broken for love. But here I was, pulled over for a busted taillight I hadn't even noticed, and this cop, Jesus, he was built like he bench-pressed tractors for fun, loomed in my rear view like a storm cloud with legs. I killed the engine, hands visible on the wheel like they drilled into me in driver's ed a decade ago. Stepping out, the cool night air hit me like a slap, soaking through my thin hoodie. He was closer now, all 6'3" of him, badge glinting under the cruiser's lights. Jacob, his name tag said, Deputy Jacob Ellis. Mid-30s, maybe, with a jaw that could cut glass and eyes the color of storm-tossed ocean, green-gray and unreadable. "License and registration," he repeated, but there was no notepad in his hand, no routine flick of the pen. Just that stare, boring into me, making my skin prickle in ways that had nothing to do with fear. "You swerved back there," he said. Not a question. Bullshit. I hadn't touched a drop since noon, but arguing with a cop in the middle of nowhere? Not my style. I fumbled for my wallet, fingers numb, and handed over the docs. Our hands brushed, and zap, static, or something more. His glove was off on that hand, rough calluses grazing my knuckles. He didn't pull away immediately. "Liam," he read from the ID, rolling the name like he was tasting it. "You from around here?" "Chicago," I muttered, rain dripping down my neck. "Just passing through. Headed to wherever." Truth was, I had no plan. Dumped by my boyfriend of 2 years, Mark, the accountant who decided my phase of coming out wasn't worth the family brunch awkwardness. I was chasing ghosts, or maybe just a fresh start in Denver. Jacob's lips twitched, not quite a smile. Long drive for a guy with no destination. "You running from something, Liam?" The question hung there, heavier than the humidity. I swallowed, throat tight. "Aren't we all?" It slipped out, raw and unintended, the kind of honesty you only drop when exhaustion strips your filters. He held my gaze a beat too long, then nodded toward his cruiser. "Sit. We'll talk." Not an order, but close enough. I slid into the passenger seat of his car, the vinyl creaking under me, smelling of coffee and gun oil and him, musk and pine, like he'd just come from chopping wood in some Norman Rockwell fantasy. He didn't cuff me or radio in. Instead, he leaned against the dash, arms crossed over that broad chest straining his uniform shirt. "Truth? Your taillight's fine. Saw you weaving. Thought you might need a break." His voice softened, the authority cracking just a hair. "Happens to the best of us. Long nights on this road. They get in your head." I blinked, the tension uncoiling a fraction. So, what? You're playing highway therapist now. A real smile then, crooked and disarming, revealing a dimple that shouldn't belong on a man who carried a Glock. Deputy therapist. Part of the job. We talked, or he pried, and I spilled. About the breakup, the empty apartment back in Cheetown, the gnawing fear that at 27, I'd peaked as the guy who drew logos for craft breweries and swiped right on apps that promised connection but delivered ghosts. Jacob listened, nodding, his knee brushing mine in the tight space. Sounds like Mark's the one running, he said finally. From himself. Not you. By the time the rain eased to a drizzle, an hour had vanished. He walked me back to my truck, but not before scribbling his number on the back of a citation stub. If you need a pit stop in Hayes. Coffee's on me. Hayes, his town. 30 miles west. Pocketed it, pulse racing for reasons I couldn't name. As I pulled away, his lights stayed off, just a silhouette in the mirror, watching. I didn't know it then, but that stop wasn't random. Fate, or fuckery, either way, pulled me under. The next morning dawned brutal, sun blasting through the motel curtains like a hangover I hadn't earned. Hayes, Kansas, population 20,000, heartland of amber waves and forgotten dreams, where the biggest excitement was the annual wheat festival. I checked in under a fake name, habit from too many bad dates, and crashed until noon, waking to the buzz of my phone. Unknown number. Coffee? J. Heart stutter, stupid, thrilling. I showered, scrubbed the road grime off, and met him at a diner called Bessie's, all chrome stools and pie under glass. Jacob was off duty, in jeans that hugged his thighs and a faded Royals tee that screamed local. No badge, but the authority lingered in his easy sprawl, like he owned the space without trying. We talked baseball first, safe ground, then veered into the personal. He was 32, divorced 5 years from a high school sweetheart who'd bailed when he came out. Small town, he shrugged. She thought it was a phase. Turns out, it was me, his ex-wife, Sarah, now married to the mayor's son, kid in tow. No bitterness, just quiet acceptance that twisted something in my gut. You? He asked, stirring sugar into black coffee. I laid it bare. The closet until 25, the parade of apps that left me hollow. Mark's betrayal still a fresh bruise. I'm tired of temporary, I admitted, voice cracking on the last word. Jacob's hand covered mine across the formica, warm and steady. Then don't settle for it. The touch lingered, electric, and when he paid the bill, walking me to my truck, he leaned in, not for a kiss, but close enough that I felt his breath. Stay another day. Show you the real Kansas. I did. We drove his truck, a jacked-up F-150 that roared like it had something to prove, out to the Flint Hills, rolling prairie that stretched like God's own canvas. Picnicked on cheese and crackers from a gas station, laughing as he taught me to skip stones across a creek that barely qualified. By sunset, we were back in town, parked at an overlook, city lights winking below like shy stars. Why me? I asked, the question burning since the pullover. He turned, profile sharp against the twilight. Saw you coming a mile away. Lost, but fighting it. Reminded me of, well, me. Our first kiss happened there, tentative at first. His lips soft despite the stubble, tasting of salt and possibility. Then deeper, hands tangling in hair, the world narrowing to the heat between us. It was fireworks and fear, the kind of kiss that rewires your soul. We didn't go further that night. He drove me back to the motel, but the promise hung thick as the prairie air. Days blurred into a week. I extended my stay, telling myself it was for work, remote gigs piling up, but really, it was Jacob. Mornings at Bessie's, afternoons exploring, the old grain elevator he climbed as a kid, the dive bar where he nursed his first beer. Nights. God, the nights. His place was a modest rancher on the edge of town, flags on porches and fireflies in jars. We cooked steaks on the grill, watched Netflix until it turned to making out on the couch, bodies pressing urgent but holding back, savoring the build. "Your trouble?" I teased one evening, tracing the tattoo on his forearm, a compass rose, inked after the divorce. "Points true north." He caught my hand, eyes darkening. "Points home." "Wherever that is." Sex came on the fourth night, slow and reverent in his king bed, sheets tangled like our limbs. He was gentle, mapping me with calloused fingers, whispering my name like a prayer. I arched under him, lost in the rhythm, the way he filled not just my body but the voids I'd carried for years. Afterward, sweat slick and spent, he held me close, heartbeat syncing with mine. "This feels right, Liam." Real. But Kansas wasn't Chicago, and small towns have long memories. Whispers started, folks at the station ribbing him about the city boy, Sarah's friends side-eyeing at the grocery. Jacob brushed it off, but I saw the tension in his shoulders, the way he'd check his phone mid-laugh. "It's nothing," he'd say, pulling me back in. Yet doubt crept, a shadow on our sunlit days. One afternoon, we hiked Volga River State Park, hand in hand until the trail curved private. There, against an ancient oak, he dropped to one knee, not proposal, but a vow. "Come with me to Pride in Wichita next month. Show 'em we're not hiding." His grin was boyish, vulnerable. I pulled him up, kissing him fierce. Hell yes, in that moment, I believed in us, two wanderers finding anchor in each other. But anchors drag, too. The call came 2 weeks in, while I was sketching logos in his kitchen. My phone buzzed. "Mark. Miss you. Made a mistake. Come home." Delete. But then a photo, us, from that motel parking lot. Blurry but unmistakable. Timestamped last week. Sent from an unknown number. "Tell your cop boyfriend small towns talk. Or does he know about your little habit?" My stomach dropped. "Habit?" Mark's voice echoed from months ago. "You're always chasing, Liam. Can't commit. But this. Blackmail?" I showed Jacob, expecting fury, solidarity. He scanned it, face paling. "Shit. That's Ellis Hardware's lot. Sarah's uncle owns it." Then, quieter, "What habit?" I explained the apps, the loneliness, nothing since Mark. But his eyes shuddered. "You think this is her? Playing games." Later, alone, I dug. Reverse image search led to a local Facebook group. "Hayes Watch," anonymous post. "Deputy Ellis slumming with out-of-towner. Careful, folks." Comments vicious. "Predator in uniform? City fags ruining our town." Betrayal's first cut wasn't Sarah's. It was Jacob's silence that night. He worked late, came home distant, beer in hand. "We need to cool it," he said over cold takeout. Stations buzzing. Chief's old school. Could cost me the job. My chest caved. So that's it? One whisper. And we're done. It's not that simple. His voice broke, but resolve hardened it. I fought for this life post-divorce. Badge. Respect. It's all I got. I stood, keys in hand. You pulled me over. Remember? Thought I needed saving. Guess you do too. Door slam echoed like gunshot. I drove east. Rain lashing again. Heart shredded. Stopped in Salina. Checked into a chain motel. Numb-scrolling grinder for numbness. But every profile blurred to green eyes. Every ping to his voice. 3 days of radio silence. Then his text. I'm sorry. Come back. Please. Against better judgment. I did. Haze welcomed me gray. November chill biting. His porch light glowed. Door cracked. Inside. Apologies tumbled. He'd confronted Sarah. Shut down the gossip. I panicked. Afraid of losing you. So I pushed. We collided then. Desperate. Bodies reaffirming what words couldn't. No more hiding, he vowed, tracing my collarbone. Pride. Together, winter deepened our bond. Holidays alone. Me in Chicago for obligatory family awkwardness. Him with his folks. Pretending. New Year's. We FaceTimed countdowns. Promises whispered across miles. Spring bloomed tentative. Tulips in his yard. My lease in Denver signed but unmentioned. Move here, he said one April evening, over homemade lasagna. Build something permanent. I hesitated, city boy in cornfields. But his eyes, earnest and exposed, tipped me. Okay. For us, U-Haul booked. Life rerouted. But shadows lengthened. June pride in Wichita. Rainbows everywhere. But eyes on us, judging. Curious. Jacob's hand in mine. Grip tight. See? We're good. Until the photo resurfaced. Anonymous email to the station. Me. Mid-kiss in the park. Caption deputy's distraction. Chief called him in. Suspension pending conduct review. Jacob came home shattered. Uniform tossed like trash. They think I'm unfit. Because of us. Rage boiled. Fight it. This is 2025. Not 1950. But exhaustion etched his face. For what? You deserve better than this fight. Liam. The words landed like blows. That night, we made love fierce. Reclaiming. But dawn brought distance. He slept on the couch. I stared at ceilings. Betrayal's second wave crashing. Not outsiders, but his surrender. July 4th. Fireworks over the fairgrounds. But we skipped it. Holed up with beer and regrets. I love you, he confessed. Voice whiskey rough. But love's not enough here. First time he'd said it, and it broke me. Then come with me. Denver. Start over. He shook his head, tears tracking. This is home. My fight's here. Ultimatum hung unspoken. I packed light, left a note, you pulled me in. Now let me go. Drove west. Radio blasting Springsteen to drown the sobs. Denver welcomed with mountains and anonymity, but emptiness echoed. Freelance boomed, logos for queer-owned startups, but nights were voids. Dated a barista, nice but forgettable. Apps again, chasing ghosts. 6 months in. A Haze number pinged. Miss you. Promoted. Wish you were here. Heart twist, pride, pain. Happy for you. Be brave. No reply. Then, spring again. Package arrived. No return address. Inside, his compass tattoo sketch, me, inked on his skin now. Note, true north. Always. Tears blurred ink. I flew back, unannounced. His door opened to shock. Then arms stronger, surer. What took you? He whispered. Traffic. I lied, kissing him home. We rebuilt. Deliberate. He quit the force. Opened a security firm, private. Proud. I commuted sketches from Hayes. Our rancher now ours. Pride that year, hands linked. No flinch. Betrayal scars faded to stories. Conflicts to strength. Years on. Under those same highway lights, now our anniversary drive, he pulls me close. Remember that night? I nod, grinning. Best bad stop ever. Love's not perfect, but it's ours, human, messy, American as apple pie and endless roads. And damn if it doesn't feel like destiny. The summer after our reconciliation stretched lazy and golden. The kind of Kansas heat that baked the earth into submission and turned lovers into languid explorers of each other's skin. Jacob's new venture, Ellis Security, took off faster than we dared hope. Local farms needing patrols against coyotes and copper thieves, the odd event gig for weddings or rodeos. He traded the badge for a logo I'd designed myself, a shield with a rising sun, symbolizing what we'd clawed back from the brink. Mornings, I'd wake to coffee brewing and him humming off-key to some country playlist. His bare back a map of freckles I traced with lazy fingers. But reconciliation isn't a straight line. It's a prairie trail, full of ruts and wildflowers. The gossip hadn't vanished. It simmered, surfacing in sidelong glances at the co-op or whispers when we grabbed burgers at the drive-in. One evening, as we grilled corn in the backyard, fireflies dancing like tiny queers owning the night, his phone buzzed with a text from an old academy buddy. Heard you're playing house with the artist. Careful, Jake, folks still talk. He deleted it without a word, but I saw the flinch. The way his jaw tightened like a cinched saddle. You're thinking about it, I said later, tangled in sheets, the fan whirring overhead. He sighed, pulling me closer, his chest rising and falling against mine. Not you. What if it's too much? For you. The vulnerability hit like a gut punch. Here was this man, forged in stoic heartland steel, cracking open for me. Jacob, I murmured, cupping his face. I've dodged worse in Chicago bars. This is worth the stairs. We pushed forward, defiant in small ways. Joined the local LGBTQ+ meetup, 10 souls strong. Meeting in a library basement with lukewarm punch and stories that mirrored ours. There, I met Riley, a trans kid fresh from Wichita, all fire and poetry slams, who cornered Jacob one night. You two give me hope, deputy. Or ex-deputy. Whatever, heroes. Jacob blushed, that dimple flashing, and I swelled with pride, the kind that roots deep. Yet conflict brewed elsewhere, insidious as summer storms. Mark resurfaced in August, an email disguised as closure. Saw your Insta, cute life. But remember Prague, that twink in the club? Habits die hard. Attached, a grainy photo from 3 years back. Me drunk and dancing, innocent but twisted in context. Rage flared. How? Stolen phone? But deeper, the old fear. Was I the betrayer? Chasing highs to fill lows? I showed Jacob over breakfast, expecting solidarity. His face darkened, not with anger at Mark, but something colder. You never told me about Prague. Voice even, but eyes stormy. It was nothing, a dance. Pre-us. Pre-everything. Defensive. I snapped back. And your ex? The one-night stands you glossed over post-divorce. Silence stretched, thick as humidity. He stood, chair scraping. Trust's a two-way. Liam. If we're building, no ghosts. He stormed out to a client call. I paced, self-doubt a whirlwind. Was this the betrayal's echo? Or new fracture? Evening brought him home apologetic. Takeout tie in hand, peace offering. I overreacted. Insecurities talking. We ate on the porch swing. Stars pricking the sky. And made up slow. Bodies apologizing where words faltered. But the seed was planted, trust. Fragile as prairie grass. Fall brought harvest festivals and cooler winds. Sweeping in change. I landed a big contract. Branding for a Denver queer film fest. Meaning weekends away. Jacob encouraged it, but goodbye kisses lingered longer, laced with unspoken don't go. One October trip, holed up in a Lodo loft sketching mood boards, my phone lit with his voice. Miss your chaos. Town's too quiet. Laughter bubbled, but underneath, worry. He'd mentioned vague station drama, old colleagues probing his exit. Back home, truth unraveled over cider at a bonfire bash. Tipsy on locals and mulled warmth. An ex-cop buddy pulled Jacob aside. I caught fragments. Chief still pissed. That photo? Traced it to Sarah's circle. Betrayal confirmed. Not random, but orchestrated. Sarah, the ex, harboring grudge from the divorce. Weaponizing small-town vines. Jacob's face when he returned, thunderous. She admitted it. Protecting the town, she said. From me. Fury ignited us both. Sue her ass, I urged, pacing our kitchen. Defamation. Harassment. Make it national. But he deflated, sinking into a chair. And drag it all public? My folks. The kid. No. The humanism in him protecting innocence. Even hers, clashed with my city-bred fight. So we slink away? Let her win. Voices rose. Words like shrapnel. His you're pushing too hard. My you're hiding again. Storm broke that night. Literal and figurative. Tornado warnings blaring as we shouted in the living room. Rain sheeting windows. I can't lose this place, he yelled, voice cracking. It's all I fought for. I grabbed my jacket. Then fight for us. Door slam. Truck roaring into the gale. Drove to the overlook. Our spot. Huddling under a picnic shelter as winds howled. Tears mixed with rain. I texted. Sorry. Love you. Come find me. He did. An hour later. Soaked and shivering. Pulling me into arms that trembled. Don't leave. Please. We drove home silent. Then talked till dawn, raw. Unfiltered. Sarah's betrayal wasn't just hers. It mirrored our fears. Forcing confrontation. We'll face it together, he vowed. Therapy. Maybe. For both. I nodded. Foreheads touching. No more ghosts. Winter-tested resolve. Holidays split. Me to Chicago for turkey and tense boyfriend. Probes from cousins. Him to his parents' farm. Where dad clapped his shoulder. Proud of you, son. But mom's eyes darted. Whispers of that city influence. New Year's. We met midway in Salina. toasting with gas station champagne in a heart-shaped hot tub at some kitschy motel. To us, clinking plastic flutes, bubbles tickling skin. There, under fake stars, we planned, sue quietly, through channels, not spectacle. Humanistic justice, not vengeance, but accountability. Spring thawed more than ground. Riley's poetry night at the library. Jacob read a piece I'd ghostwritten, about prairies and pullovers, voice steady amid applause. Sarah's apology came circuitous, a letter via lawyer, remorse laced with, I was scared. We accepted. No charges. Forgiveness as freedom. My Denver gig extended, but Hayes rooted deeper community garden plots, joint runs at dawn, lazy Sundays with his niece, who called us the uncles with gummy-toothed glee. Yet climax loomed, inevitable as thunderheads. June pride again, bigger, bolder, our float a makeshift truck bed of rainbow hay bales. Jacob emceed, mic in hand, voice booming, to the fighters, the lovers, the ones who stay. Crowd roared. I swelled, but mid-parade, chaos erupted, a counter-protest. Fringe holdouts with signs scrawled, Sodom's shame. Shouts turned shoves. A bottle flew, shattering near our feet. Jacob shielded me instinctive, badge gone muscle tensing. Back off, authority thrummed, but eyes wild flashback to the pullover, but reversed. Police, ironic, dispersed them, but not before a scuffle left Jacob bruised, lips split. In the ER, waiting room fluorescent hell, he gripped my hand. This is the cost, not question, but I heard it. Worth it? I whispered, kissing his knuckles. News hit local feeds. Pride clash in Wichita, ex-deputy hero? Spin twisted, but support flooded letters, calls. Sarah even texted, saw the news. You okay? Recovery bonded us tighter. Bedside vigils turned to balcony stargazing, his head on my lap. You saved me that night, I said, combing fingers through his hair. Now I save you. Romance reignited. Deeper candlelit baths. Mixtapes of our road trip anthems. Whispered futures. Adoption maybe. Or fostering. Building family from fragments. By fall, Ella's security boomed. I opened a satellite studio in Hayes. Logos for the heartland with queer flair. Betrayal's ghost, exorcised in therapy circles, where we unpacked closets and cop shame. Humanistic arc. Not flawless heroes, but men learning grace amid grit. One November Eve, anniversary eve, he pulled me over, joking, his truck idling on our dirt road. Step out, sir. Grinning, I complied. Flashlight play, his phone beam. Dramatic. Guilty of stealing my heart. Cuffs, silk ties from the bedroom. Laughter dissolved to passion under the stars. Bodies reclaiming the night. Destiny's pull, stronger now, woven with choice. In America's vast middle, we found our lane, dramatic, emotional, unapologetically us. As the second anniversary approached, our life in Hayes had settled into a rhythm that felt less like survival and more like symphony. Discordant notes giving way to harmony, if you listen close. Jacob's business had expanded to consulting for nearby towns, training officers on community sensitivity, his ex-colleagues grudgingly admitting he was onto something. I'd carved a niche too. Graphic work for regional nonprofits. Everything from HIV awareness campaigns to farm-to-table co-ops. My style injecting urban edge into rural roots. We were that couple now, the one folks nodded to at the farmer's market, baskets bumping as we debated Honeycrisp versus Gala. But beneath the domestic bliss, emotional undercurrents swirled, pulling at seams we'd patched but not fully mended. It started subtle. Jacob's late nights, poring over case files for a pro bono gig, eyes shadowed not just by desk lamps. Just tying up loose ends, he'd say, but I'd catch him staring at old photos, academy graduation, him in crisp blues, arm around buddies who'd ghosted post coming out. One night, post-dinner, I broached it over slices of my lopsided apple pie. "You're drifting, babe. Talk." He set down his fork, fork tines glinting like tiny accusations. "It's nothing. Just remembering why I left the force. The brotherhood. Lost it all. Vulnerability again. That raw edge I loved and feared." I reached across the oak table, scarred from our DIY projects. "You gained more." This. But his squeeze back was half-hearted, gaze flicking to the window where frost etched patterns like fractured trust. The real conflict ignited in December, holiday lights twinkling mockery as we drove to his parents' for Christmas Eve. The farm road wound past snow-dusted fields, radio crooning Mariah Carey, but tension crackled thicker than the wood smoke from chimneys. His mom, Ellen, had evolved, post-pride scuffle. She'd baked us a rainbow bundt cake, all awkward allyship, but Dad, Harlan, remained a monolith of quiet discomfort. Dinner was fine, turkey carved with precision, stories of Jacob's boyhood mischief. Then, post-grace, Harlan cleared his throat. "Heard you're training cops now, son. Good work. But that photo business. Sarah's sorry, but towns heal slow." Jacob's fork paused midair, knuckles whitening. "Water under the bridge, Dad." But I felt the tremor in his thigh under the table, pressed to mine. Later, by the fire, Ellen pulled me aside, voice hushed. "He's carrying it heavy, Liam. The betrayal. It's like losing the uniform all over." I nodded, throat tight, but inside, resentment flickered. Why him? Always the stoic? We drove home silent, snowflakes suicide diving onto the windshield. "Pull over," I said finally, at the quarry overlook, engine ticking cool. He did. Lights off, world muffled white. "What's eating you?" His question gentle, but I unloaded. Frustration at his brooding, fear we'd rebuilt on sand. "You're here, but not." Like that first pullover, tense, half in, tears hot, unexpected. He pulled me across the console, awkward angle begetting urgency, kiss salty with unspoken grief. "I'm scared too," he admitted against my neck. "Of failing you. Of this place chewing us up." We stayed till numb, then home to cocoa and confessions, vowing check-ins, weekly heart talks, no armor. January brought renewal, crisp as new snow. We joined a couple's retreat in Lawrence, hip college town vibe, facilitators in flannel leading trust falls and tantra light exercises. Awkward laughs over eye-gazing, but breakthroughs. Jacob admitting badge loss as emasculation, me unpacking nomad heart from shitty dad who bailed young. "You're my anchor," he whispered one workshop night, hands linked in circle. Romance bloomed anew, picnics in thaws, slow dances to Coulter Wall in the kitchen, bodies relearning trust's terrain. Yet betrayal's specter stalked persistent. February, a client gig for Jacob, audit at the station, Ghosts in khaki. He came home rattled, slamming cabinets. Chief offered me back consultant role. Said the photo fiasco blew over. Triumph should sparkle. But envy gnawed me, his old world calling. Mine feeling small. Take it, I forced, masking the twist. You deserve. Dinner soured, words sharpened. It's not that easy. They'd own me again. Closeted vibes. Side eyes. My retort. Or grow the hell up. Fight from inside. Accusation hung. Him unchanging. Me pushing. He stormed to the garage. Tools clanging therapy. I retreated to studio. Sketches turning abstract. Jagged lines. Shadowed figures. Midnight reconciliation. Him in doorway. Grease-streaked. Sorry. Fear talking. Bed became battlefield turned sanctuary. Passion purging poison. Spring equinox. Equilibrium tested. My Denver Fest contract peaked. Week in the city. Schmoozing sponsors at rooftop soirees. Freedom thrilled. But guilt shadowed. Jacob's texts cheery. But calls laced loneliness. One night, buzzed on craft IPAs, a flirt approached, tall, tattooed producer with easy grin. Love your work. Drink. Harmless. But echo of Prague. Mark's taunt. I demurred, but screenshot sent to Jacob transparency. His reply, proud. Miss you. Home safe. Return brought roses on the porch. His surprise. For the warrior, we celebrated with wine and wanderlust tales, but undercurrent hummed. His station offer lingered, unspoken. April showers birthed May flowers and fracture. Anonymous email to me. Ask your man about the consult. It's a trap. Chiefs playing nice to bury pride dirt. Sender. Riley. Our poet pal. Who'd overheard station scuttlebutt. Confrontation exploded over stir-fry. Wok flames mirroring tempers. Is it true? My voice shrill. Betrayal's blade twisting fresh. Jacob paled. Then deflated. Partial. Chief wants me back to clean house. Sweep the homophobia under. Make Hayes look progressive. PR stunt. Lies by omission he'd considered. Not told. Why hide? I demanded. Plate crashing sink. Because I knew you'd hate it. Compromise for badge. Compromise? That's betrayal of us. Yells echoed. Hearts hammered. He grabbed keys. Need air. Truck peeled out. Taillights vanishing like that first night reversed. Collapsed. Sobs racking. Phone clutched for apology that didn't come. Dawn. Empty bed. Note on counter walking the river. Love you. Will fix. Hours ticked agony. Search parties in mind. Finally. Text. Corey. Come. I raced. Heart lurching. He sat on our bench. Knees drawn. Face streaked. I almost took it. For stability. For us. Admission raw. Breaking. But no, your light's brighter. We clung. Rain starting soft. Washing wounds. No secrets. Vow renewed. He declined the offer. Emailing Chief. Thanks. But I'm building elsewhere. Climax crested summer solstice. Pride Eve. Town buzzed prep. Banners strung Main Street. Our float polished. But threat loomed. Countergroup rallied. Flyers decrying moral decay. Chief's doing? Whispers said yes. Distraction from internal rot. Jacob. Ever protector. Organized safety team, friends. Allies. vests and walkies. "Stay back," he urged me pre-parade. "For you." But I couldn't, our love demanded presence. Marching, rainbow flags whipping, chants rising, love wins. Then, surge, protesters breaching barriers, epithets flying like fists. Chaos, shoves, screams. A rock sailed. I dodged, but it clipped Jacob shielding Riley. He went down hard. Blood blooming temple. World slowed me lunging, cradling. "Jake, stay with me," sirens wailed. Again. But this time, community flooded waiting room, Ellen sobbing, Harlan gripping my shoulder. "Hold on." Son-in-law. Riley reciting poems through tears. Surgery minor. Stitches. Concussion but vigil stretched eternal. In recovery, groggy eyes met mine. "Knew you'd fight." Kiss featherlight. "Always." News exploded. Pride hero ex-deputy assaulted. Calls for reform. Chief resigned amid probes. Sarah testified against fringes. Our story trended human interest, not spectacle. Betrayal transmuted. From personal wound to catalyst. Fall harvest. Scars faded, but lessons etched. We adopted a rescue pup, Max, mangy mutt mirroring us. Winters warmed with family, Harlan at Thanksgiving, carving with pride. Romance deepened. Elopement whispers, rings simple gold. Emotional core, not perfection, but perseverance. One dusk drive, highway humming, he glanced over. "Pulled over again?" Teased light. I grinned. "Only if you promise tension." Laughter free. Destiny's road unfolding. Dramatic. Devoted. Ours. The aftermath of that Pride night lingered like the metallic tang of blood in your mouth after a fight. Sharp. Insistent. Forcing you to taste victory's cost. Jacob's recovery was a slow burn. Weeks of headaches that turned our rancher into a dim-lit cocoon. Him napping on the couch while I tiptoed around freelance deadlines and Max's enthusiastic zoom eyes. Community rallied in waves. Casseroles from Ellen, tuna noodle. Her specialty. Care packages from the library group, books on resilience. Queer history tomes. Even a awkward fruit basket from the station. And signed but reeking of Chief's guilt. Harlan visited twice. Silent companionship over chess. Your family grunted like gold. But emotional scars fester deeper than stitches. Nightmares jolted Jacob awake. Fists raining. Badgeless helplessness. I'd hold him, murmuring, "You're safe." But dawn brought distance. Him retreating to garage tinkering. Me sketching furious abstracts of fractured shields. Our heart talks faltered. One July evening, over lukewarm barbecue, cracked. "You're shutting me out." Again, fork down, eyes weary, just processing. Liam. "Don't want to burden." Burden? We're partners, not patients. Voice rose, old rifts reopening. He stood, plate clattering. "Maybe that's the issue, you fix." I break. Slam of screen door. Crickets chorused his absence. I paced kitchen. Self-recrimination looping. Was I too urban? Too insistent on healing his heartland wounds? Max whined at my feet, pawing for normalcy. Reconciliation came midnight. Him slipping back in. Toolbox abandoned. "Sorry." Fears loud. We talked till birdsong. His terror of vulnerability. My ache for unfiltered him. Therapy solo, he decided. For me, nod of support. Kiss ceiling packed. Romance flickered back. Lazy mornings in bed. his fingers tracing my spine. Whispers of "I see you" more potent than passion. August heat wave baked tensions dormant, but betrayal's third act brewed in shadows. A new client for Ellis Security. Private investigation. Digging dirt on a land dispute. Jacob Dove in. Late nights tailing suspects. Adrenaline lighting his eyes like old badge days. "This is good," he enthused over tacos. "Control. Without the chains." I cheered, but unease gnawed. His absences stretching dinners to solo affairs. Texts curt with trails hot. Then, the drop. Mid-September. He came home ashen, file in hand. "It's Sarah." My stomach nodded. "What now?" He spread photos. Her with the counter-protest ringleader. Meetings time-stamped pre-pride. Not just whispers, she funded them. Revenge arc. Full circle. Betrayal's apex. Ex-wife. Once foe. Now felon in our narrative. Fury unified us. "Expose her," I urged, pacing. But Jacob's humanism tempered. "Not destroy." Justice. We gathered evidence. Looped Riley's activist network. Fed tips to a Topeka reporter discreetly. Weeks blurred. Stakeouts where I'd ride along. Hearts pounding in sync. Turning sleuthing to stolen kisses in truck cabs. Intimacy reignited fierce. Post-op nights. Bodies urgent against fear's chill. Climax crashed October 1st frost. Reporter's peace broke. Hayes hypocrisy. Ex-deputy's assault linked to local elite. Sarah named. Donations traced. Town erupted. Protests at her salon. Council meetings stormy. She called Jacob. Voicemail shattered. I was lost. Hated what you became. Hated myself. No apology to me. But his response. Heal, Sarah. For the kid. Fallout fractured further. Her husband's business tanked. Divorce loomed anew. Jacob fielded hate mail, traitor cop, but support surged. Harlan defending him at the diner, my boy's a hero. Ellen baking apology pies. Yet internal storm raged. Jacob's therapy unearthed rage, sessions spilling into hours. She took my trust. He confessed one bonfire night, flames leaping like confessions. Made me doubt us. I pulled him close, ash-scented. She took nothing permanent. We rebuilt stronger. Words bomb, but tears his rare, wrenching. That night, love making cathartic, slow, sacred, reclaiming agency in sweat and sighs. November winds howled change. Sarah's charges, misdemeanor funding, community service. She moved to Wichita, fresh start. Jacob's biz boomed, reputation ironclad. Me, Denver Fest offered full-time creative director, relocation clause. Go if it calls, he said over Harvest Moon wine. But heart tugged Haysward, our roots twining deep. Holiday pivot. Thanksgiving at the farm. Full table us. Parents. Riley as adopted. Toasts clinked. To family. Forged. Harlan's speech. Gruff. You boys taught me love's tougher than tractors. Proud. Tears collective. Jacob's hand in mine. Anchor steady. Winter solstice brought proposal, not knee, but knee-deep snow hike to the overlook. He unpacked thermoses, then a small box, 2 bands, hammered silver with compass engravings. Marry me, Liam. Not despite the mess with it. Choke laugh. Yes. God. Yes. Rings exchanged under Aurora teas. Northern lights faint but fierce. celebration, diner pie, then home to champagne toasts and tender unraveling, bodies vowing eternity. But drama's not done. Spring 2026 tease trials. Wedding plans, small, courthouse with farm reception. Invites tricky, Chicago kin wary, but cousins RSVP'd rainbow flags. Conflict-crested May, Mark's email, wedding news via mutual. Congrats? Or pity? Remember, habits. Attached, fabricated chat logs. Me confessing post-reunion flings. Forgery obvious, but sting real, ghosts clawing back. Jacob saw red. Block the bastard, but I dug. Traced IP to his work server. Legal. Cease and desist drafted. Sent. Closure sharp as frost. Romance deepened. Pre-wedding jitters turned to vow workshops. Writing letters read under quilts. His. You pulled my heart over. Lights flashing truth. Mine. From tense stop to forever lane. June wedding dawn. Bluebird sky. Us in slim suits, his navy. Mine charcoal with boutonnieres of prairie grass. Vows courthouse simple. In conflict and calm. Betrayal and bond. I choose you. Rings slid. Kiss sealed amid cheers. Reception farm bashed. Hayrides. Ellen's cake. Riley's toast. To pullovers that park home. Honeymoon road trip. I-70 west to Rockies. Looping back. Stops nostalgic. Our motel. Quarry picnics. One night. Denver skyline view. He pulled me close. Tense moments made this. Laughter. Love. Limitless. Years folded. 2027. We fostered teens, queer runaways. Building nests. Jacob's book. Badge to bond. Memoir humanistic. Sales modest but mending. My studio expanded. Heartland Queer Art Collective. Betrayals? Scars. Stories fuel for empathy. Anniversary pullover tradition. Him busting me. Cuffs playful. Guilty. I plead. Sentence. Lifetime. American Dream. Gay edition, dramatic. Devoted. Deeply felt. Marriage didn't sand the edges off our life. If anything, it honed them sharper, revealing the intricate grain beneath. 2 years in, 2028, haze had evolved, or maybe we had, lenses polished by time and trials. Jacob's memoir hit shelves quietly, a regional whisper that grew to podcast invites and book club debates in coffee shops from Topeka to Tulsa. Not preachy, reviewers noted, just profoundly human. A cop's queer awakening in flyover country. He downplayed it, but I saw the lift in his step, the way he'd linger over fan letters from closeted deputies. You gave me words for my silence. Our foster home buzzed fuller now. First kid, Alex, 16 and sharp-tongued, arrived spring 27 with a duffel and defiant glare, fleeing Bible Belt parents who'd pray the gay away. Then Mia, 14, non-binary whirlwind from Wichita group home, all poetry and piercings. Chaos charmed. Dinner tables raucous with debates over vegan tacos versus brisket. Movie nights devolving into queer cinema critiques. Jacob excelled dad mode. Patient with Alex's walls. Collaborative on Mia's name tweaks. Me, the fun uncle turned co-pilot. Sketching murals for their rooms, rainbow prairies, compass stars. But emotional tides ebbed inevitable. Summer 28. Alex's bio-dad surfaced. Custody petition. Laced with reformed claims and homophobic barbs. Court loomed. A gauntlet of depositions and best interest jargon that hollowed Jacob's eyes. What if they win? he confided one dusk. Porch swing creaking under our weight. Max snoozing at feet. Fireflies pulsed like hesitant heartbeats. He's ours, I affirmed, hand over his. Fought harder for worse. Trial climaxed August. Sweltering courtroom in Ellis County. Air thick with old grudges. Dad testified, I see the light now. Kids need normal. Jacob's rebuttal. Steady. Normal's love, sir. Unconditional. Our therapist prepped him. Riley co-wrote impact statements. Verdict. Custody hours. Supervised visits. Relief crashed post-ruling courthouse steps. Jacob sagging into me. Sobs muffled in my shoulder. We did it. Homecoming. Alex's hug tentative then tight. Thanks, Dads. Word sealed family. Romance wove through wreckage. Resilient thread. Fall foliage tour. Us four piling into the F-150. Leaves aflame in the Flint Hills. Picnics with PB&J. Alex shotgun DJING indie folk. Mia braiding daisy chains. Evenings hours after bedtime stories. Wine on the deck. Slow dances to recalibrate. You're my north, he'd murmur. Lips brushing ear. Intimacy evolved, less urgent. More attuned. Bodies maps redrawn by time's gentle erosion. Yet betrayal's echo resounded. Insidious. October. Mia's old caseworker leaked files. Forged reports painting us unstable influencers. Anonymous again. But trace led to a rival foster agency. Jealous of our placements. Conflict internal. Jacob wanted confrontation. Me caution. Don't let them drag us low. Arguments flared kitchen hot. His fight every shadow. My pick battles for peace. Door slams revisited. But shorter now, apologies swift. Therapy tuning us. Resolution humanistic. We sued civilly. One settlement funding community scholarships for queer youth. No spectacle. Just quiet justice. Winter holidays swelled. Full table. Alex carving turkey. Shaky but proud. Mia's Hanukkah lights mingling Christmas tree. Chicago visit. My aunt, once skeptical, toasting to chosen kin. Jacob's folks beamed. Harlan's boys did good gruff gospel. 2029 dawned ambitious. Jacob keynote at a national policing conference. From badge to belonging, Minneapolis, snow-globed skyline. Tagged, kids with Ellen. Post-speech Q&A turned tense. Heckler shouting, cop apologetic. Jacob fielded calm. Not apology evolution. We all bleed human. Backstage. My kiss. Hero. Pride swelled mutual. Spring brought expansion. Our collective birthed a Hayes Youth Center. Pullover project. Safe space for runaways. Art and AG workshops. Opening gala. Ribbons snipped. Donors mingling. Alex emceeing with surprising poise. But undercurrent. Mark's final jab. A blog post exposed. The fraudulent fairy tale. Dredging old lies. Views low. But sting personal. Jacob read aloud. Then burned printout in our fire pit. Ashes to art. I illustrated rebuttal comic. Us as caped crusaders. Cape's prairie wind. Posted viral. Turning venom to validation. Climax personal. Summer solstice eve. Road trip anniversary. 70 retrace. Kids in back quizzing, how'd you meet? Jacob's tale embellished. Pulled him over for heart theft. Laughs. But pit stop at our quarry. Alone while kids nap truck. He knelt anew. Renewal vows? Rings off. Recast with kids' birthstones. In every storm, I choose you. Tears, thunder distant, love lightning struck. Fall deepened roots. Alex came out by casual over breakfast. We hugged, no fanfare. Mia's first crush, awkward advisory. Betrayals, backdrops now. Fueling advocacy, Jacob's TEDx talk. My graphic novel pitch, Highway Hearts. 2030 milestone. Decades since pullover. Bash at the center. Lanterns strung. Hay bales seats. Riley toasting to tense turns triumphant. Speeches short, Jacob's. Destiny's not pull. It's push together. Dance floor ours. Kids joining goofy. Community encircling. Later. Highway drive home. Stars carpet overhead. Tense fast. I tease. His grin. Fast forward to forever. Hand squeeze. Engine hum. American Odyssey. Gay and grand. Ending not tragic but tenderly true. In the heartland's hold. We found grace. Dramatic lives. Emotional depths. Romantic roads. Humanely whole.